simple than that, okay? So that's what it is, but that was for the previous homework that you just got. Now for this set of homework, I want you to pay attention to that last line there. So when you have PAE equals to 1010 minus 1000R plus 0.81, okay? This is your reduced form equation for this problem that has a monetary policy that has two unknown, which is your Y as well as your real interest rate. So I want you to pay attention that in your problem, even though if you're given the interest rate to be X amount, let's say 11% or 10%, do not substitute in early. Did everybody hear what I say? Don't substitute in so early like here and here, because if you do, this algebra is more complicated. Got it? Don't substitute until you get to this very simple form called reduced form equation. And then from here, one time only, you substitute into the interest rate, whatever that's given. Say it is 11%, and then you substitute in. See how easy it is? You only have to work with simple algebra, and then you got this 0.8y that you have to solve. But if you don't do that, if you just kind of like substitute it in early, like here and here, you see how you have to work with that whole strings of nested numbers there. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good technique to use. So in your homework problem, look for this line. Reduce it to this line, and then next you say if the interest rate is whatever, say 11%, and PAE equals to, you will be able to reduce it into some number xxx plus 0.8y. And then at that point, you apply that short run equilibrium, which is PAE equals to y into it, so that it's reduced to only all y's, as you have done in your homework problem. Does it ring a bell? And you solve for y, and that's it. Okay? So remember that. This is very key. That's what I'm looking for. And do it more than once. Because if you do it second time, right, you get the same answer, you know your answer has to be right. If you do it second time, you got a different answer, and do it third time to confirm it. Okay? Because some of it is because, careless. If you do it 2 times, you know for sure that you got it right. Okay, so that's what it is. See, at this point, you substitute into that interest rate. We don't do it at the beginning. We do it when you get to that simple 3 number. Well, 1, 2, 3 numbers. So look for that in your homework problem. Once you substitute in, you got that. And then the next one is easy. Apply PAE equals to y. Then, ta-da, you got that y equals to 4,800. Okay, so which is what it is. Okay? Well, we done this before, previous chapter. We substitute at 4,800 and you get, this is your y, because PAE here becomes y. So you got 4,800. Do not skip a step, okay? So in your homework problem, I'm going to look at your working very carefully. If you just give me a magic answer and say, oh yeah, the answer is 3%. How? Show the working, as to all the way until you get that 3%. So you got to show working. So next, let's do a review, and this also for people who were not here last time. So I'd like to just give you the gist, or in a nutshell. Okay, what is it? Oh yeah, here. So remember we talked about if you're in RG, right, recessionary gap. So what you have to do is you have to lower or increase. You have to, okay, in this case, in RG, you want to practice so the balloon of the economy is too small, right? You want to make it bigger. So you have to basically practice expansionary. In this case, it's monetary. And that means lower the interest rate, not increase. Very important. So this is a review. If you lower the real interest rate, okay, that one. If you lower the real interest rate, and interest rate appear in your consumption function, now the new term negative, the new term I sub P, it's not a pure number anymore, has a second term to it, and it's also negative, negative. So therefore, if your real interest rate is lower, your C will go up, your I would go up. So what that means is that, let's just say 10% interest rate today when you drive by the bank. And then the next day you come back and you saw that on the bulletin board it's now 1%. So the interest rate has come down. If the interest rate has come down, then basically people say, oh yuck, let's drive on, don't stop the car at the bank and drive on and go to the broker service and let's invest because you get a better return and let's consume. And if C and I goes up, this C and I are parts of PAE, so therefore PAE should go up as well. So then the balloon of the economy get expanded, and vice versa. Okay, if you're in expansionary gap, the economy is overheating, then you want to let out some air. So, what happened? This balloon is not big enough, isn't it? What do we want to do? We want to do the contractionary, okay. Okay, the other way. Too big, so you want to make PAE smaller. PAE is like a balloon. So then, in this case, you want to raise. This is very important. Two direction, you flip the coin. Wrong or correct, So in this case, you want to raise the interest rate. And then C and I will come down. PAE will come down. And that's it. And this, you could think about it as 1%. The next day you go back, it becomes 10%. So you slap your money down, put it in the bank account. Then you consume less, you won't take the money out to invest. So C and I comes down, PAE comes down because, where's PAE equation? Yeah, PAE has component C in it, and I so P is it, and then G in it is. So that's it. This is it. This is a whole chapter. So if you master that, it's 50 stars there. So I want you to pay attention one more time. If you're practicing expansionary monetary policy, you are lowering the interest rate. Got it? You're not raising it because later on students will say, oh yeah, but aren't we expanding it? And so you think expand should be raising. It's the other way because this will cause C and I to go up. That's the expansionary part, okay? Because you have negative relationship. C and R has negative relationship, so is I is a P and R has negative relationship. That's the most important thing. If you get that, you understand the whole chapter. That's it. It is that simple because I like to make it simple. And now we get to the mechanics. That's the big pictures here. Okay, so we done all that. Okay, now our favorite Keynesian's diagram. We gotta do that diagram. Okay, let's do our diagram. So the other time I had some of you come out and do it, remember? So that was kind of important. And most of you could do the diagram from what I could see in your homework problem. Now, even though the homework is due on, what day is it? Wednesday, right? So if you want to hand in on Monday, it's fine too, okay? Because after this, after today's class, you should be able to do that piece of homework. Even though I may not finish up this chapter today, but you got the most of it. So use the weekend to work on the homework. Because I know sometimes I have it due on Wednesday, students don't do it. If it is Monday, you got the weekend to work on it. So I'll take it on Monday. In fact, I'll give bonus point, 1%, one. How about that? Sure. If you hand in on Monday, I give extra 1 point. Just to give you incentive to work on it over the weekend, rather than to drag it to Wednesday, in which the chances of you handing it in is not as high. Okay, so let's look at the Keynesian cross diagram. Okay, and pay attention to this. This is very important. So we're going to start off with this, and we have our 45-degree line, and then we have our PE line. Okay, I'm just gonna say interest rate equals to 5% instead of writing out the whole thing, because all that it matters is that interest rate, okay? I'm just gonna write like that. This is your income line as usual, and this is your PAE. And down here is your output, Y here. Okay, so here we got our 4,800, right? Yeah, that's your answer, you solved for it, that was 4,800. Okay, and then we're going to draw this additional line that I asked one of the group to do it the other time. And so you draw a solid line here, which is your Y star, it's 5,000. Okay, so then again, same thing, we keep drawing that diagram over and over. So if your Y is to the left of Y star, you're experiencing?
Recession.
Okay, that's a very important question that you should answer. You're experiencing RG. Very good. If you're experiencing RG, what do you have to do? You have to practice expansionary or contractionary monetary policy. Answer that. Expansionary, very good. So that means you will keep, you will want, your goal is to make this line go up, or it's a process, finally hit intersect here. Okay, so finally you want to move from point A to point B to eliminate that output gap. So because every time you move up, it's a process, slowly, and then you can see they intersect more to the right, and finally get the, you eliminate the whole output gap. So you were practicing expansionary monetary policy because you're in recessionary gap. And in order to do that, do you have to raise the interest rate or do you have to lower the interest rate? Think first before you answer, please. Look at your note, whatever. So what is the answer? Do you have to lower or increase it?
Lower.
Very good. Most of you say lower. Okay, so this should be, I'm just gonna put less than 5%. And we're gonna find out what is that interest rate. So for now, you just know that, it's gonna be lower than 5 because it's gonna be lower, but we will find out what is that specific percentage now, okay? So in order to find it, one way to do it is, the multiplier, we know it's 5. We don't have to calculate because we've done it in the previous chapter. Recessionary gap is 200. And there are two ways to solve it. So I'm going to give you two methods, okay? You decide which one is easier. So one is by intuition. By intuition, you basically go back to that equation earlier. We got PAE equals to, follow along with me, all the yellow fonts here. 1010 minus, is that 1,000? Yeah. So we got that earlier. Forget about Y, okay? So what this is saying is that we know that the Fed will want to increase the PAE by changing PAE. Like previous chapter, we know that that is you take the output gap divided by the multiplier. Okay, the output gap we calculate that to be 200, correct? Everybody okay? So multiplier was 5, so 40. Okay? So, in other words, what this means is that the PAE line has to move up by 40 units. Okay? All right, very good. So let's look at this equation here. According to this equation, if you drop the interest rate by 1%, right, if you substitute 1% here, so what is 10% of 1,000? Come on, 10% of 1,000 is?
100.
100, yeah. So 1% will be 10. Very good. So in other words, if you were to drop the interest rate, because this is negative, by 1%, PAE will go up by 10 units, correct? So now you ask it the other way. If you want the PAE to go up by 40 units, therefore the interest rate has to drop by 4%, right? So listen very carefully to my preposition. I use a term that that you have to reduce interest rate by 4%. So that means that you take 5% minus 4 to get 1%. Very good. I know it's not direct, but this is how you do it. In the textbook, that's how they show you how to do it, like that. Now, the only thing that I think it's very easy to get confused is because of that term by 4%, because some students say, oh yeah, the answer is 4%. No. It means that you have to reduce it from the original percentage by 4%. That means from 5 minus 4 to get 1. That's what it means. So if you understand this, you want to do it this way, that's fine. There's another way to do it, that is by math. And I think that one is easier. So, did we get to that? Yeah, we could. Why not? Because your textbook, when you do your homework problem, actually asks you to do it that way. I don't have my note to me, though. Let's see. Okay. So I know that. So if you do it by the other way, could I erase this? Okay. I want everything to be erased except for this equation. I could rewrite it here. So if you do it the other way, right? So it would be like this. 10 minus 1,000 R. And we know originally we have 0.8y in that whole equation. Okay, so if you want to do it by equation, so basically what you do is you have to get rid of this one right here. You have to apply two criteria. One is apply y equals to PAE, which is your short run equilibrium, like what you did. And then you also have to apply y equals to y star. Okay? Okay, let's talk about y equals to y star part. So what this is saying is, what if you have already eliminated that output yet? You start off with y equals to y star, and right here, at point F. So what is that interest rate? So this is what this is saying. So then in order to do that, let's try to solve it here. So what we can do is, first you apply, let's call this equation 1, okay? So you apply y equals to PAE to this equation. And then next is y equals to 10 minus 1,000 R plus 0.8y. Then guess what you have? So you have 0.2y, right? We've done this before. Everybody okay with that? Bring it to the left-hand side. 10 minus 1,000 R. Everybody still okay? Okay, and then we're going to apply that y equals to PAE here. I mean y equals to y star here. Do we know y star? Yes. Right? So then this becomes 0.2 y star. I'm writing it step by step, so please copy down every step so you know how to do this problem for your assignment. So what I'm doing is I substitute that in. So y equals to y star. Okay, so then this becomes, somebody tell me. What?
25,000.
5,000. Because your y star is 5,000. So just substitute that 5,000 in, okay? So somebody tell me what is 20% of 5,000? Actually, I know the answer, but I want you.
1,000, right?
What is it?
1,000.
1,000, very good. So, see, we have already eliminated everything except for that R. Everybody see what I'm doing here? Okay, by substituting that y equals to y star in here. We do it slowly. Two substitution. We apply the first one, y equals to PAE, to get rid of the y. Okay, once you get rid of the, to get rid of the PAE. So once, and here we got two variables here, and then apply y equals to y star in here, because we already know y star is 5,000, right? So we get rid of it, so now we only left with one unknown, which is your little r. So right here is 10 minus 1,000 r. Therefore, 1,000 r is 10 minus, I'm writing out every step so you understand how I got it. 10 minus 1,000, which is what? Which is 10, right? Okay, so finally, your R is 10 divided by 8,000. Cross, so 0.01. In English, 0.01 means how many percent?
1%.
Very good. Oh gosh. Or 1%. And you get the answer right away. Straightforward. You don't have to deal with by 4%. So you get the answer right away. 1% is the answer. You think this is easy? Okay, very good. So you can do it this way then. If you don't understand, you're weak in math, you want to do it intuition, well, you could also. Okay, this one we have a choice. Okay, next, okay, so let's look at what happened, very quick example. Recession of 2001. There was a terrorist attacks in 2001. So December 2000, federal funds rate was 6.5. And again, right, during recessionary gap, well, 2001, September 11 hit, and we had a recession. So in other words, you were in recessionary gap. So one of the things you have to do is to correct it by dropping the interest rate, not raising it. By practicing expansionary monetary policy means dropping the interest rate. So that's what happened, after a week after September 11, they dropped it down to 1.25. That's very, very drastic. 6.5 to 1.25. And then November 2002, they remake it 1.25. So this is just to tell you that in real world, that's what they do. They have to lower the interest rate. Okay, next, one more example. So in this example, okay, I'm gonna erase this, but I'm gonna leave this alone. This is the other way. So again, the examples, the diagram is important. In your homework, you should do the diagram. Because I think the diagram helps you to understand better, like the recessionary gap, the expansionary gap. When we get to the next chapter, that becomes even more important. So start out with income line. Again, your PAE line has a slope. It's not a horizontal line. It's not flat. So this is PAE. Again, we start out with 5%. And this is our 4,800. But now, we're going to draw this potential GDP to the left of Y. So this is now 4,600. So what's the difference here? 4,800 minus 4,600. You got? 200, okay. But now, what kind of gap this is now? This is expansionary gap, very important, because your Y is now to the right of your Y star, okay? So in other words, the economy is overheating. So if it is overheating, what do you have to practice? Contractionary monetary policy. You are in EG. So use contractionary monetary policy. And that means at point A here, you want to drop that PAE line down by leaking out some air, right? So the balloon of the economy gets smaller. Let me ask you now, in order to do that, do you have to lower the interest rate or do you have to raise the interest rate? Very good. Did anybody say lower? I'm trying to get the one who say lower. Very good. You should raise the interest rate. In other words, this has to be more than 5%. Okay? So then you have to find out what is that. So what is that? Okay, let's do this. Okay, so what do I have to change? See if you are with me. What do I have to change here?
Change PAE to Y.
Well, everything is the same except for,
The last one.
yeah, Y star should be 4,600. That's it, everything else is the same. So here, instead of 5,000, somebody use a calculator, please. What is 20% of 4,600?
920.
Sorry?
920.
920, thank you so much. Okay, so this become 920. Is that everybody with me? So everything is the same except for that you substitute in a new potential GDP. Now, remember, I told you before that when you first did this set of homework, I said, you do not, absolutely do not ever substitute that Y star in your original equation, because then we pack our bag, we go home, we solve the problem. But Y star is given for a reason, to be used later. Remember, I asked a group to draw the diagram, and then I asked a separate group to add on. Okay, so 4,600, 920, okay, so what do we have? 1010 minus 920, what would that be?
0.00, or I'm sorry, 0.09.
Now before that, don't jump.
Oh, sorry.
Give me that one.
90.
Very good, thank you, I appreciate that, 90. So then this becomes, are you sure? Yeah, it is 90. Okay, so this becomes 90 divided by 1,000. So the answer would be 0.09 or 9%. I have changed it, so you should change it too. So the answer here is 9%. Okay, so for your homework problem, I would like for you to draw the diagram because you understand a little bit better. But note that when we drop the PAE line down, the interest rate higher because you're raising the interest rate. So this is a part that you absolutely cannot get confused because you will fail the whole chapter. That's it, you know, because expansionary monetary policy means lower the interest rate, and if it is contractionary monetary policy means you raise the interest rate. Okay, so that's what happened here. So what about real life example? Do we have one? I think so. Yes, look at it. So 2004, 2005, the economy were doing very well. Were you born yet?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, very good. So from June 2004 to 2005, the Fed funds rate rose from 1% to 3.25. Why did they want to raise the interest rate? Because if they raise the interest rate, then people put money in the bank, then they will consume less, and then they will invest less. PAE comes down, balloon up, the economy gets smaller, and he corrected it. Because in the first place, it was overheated. Economy was doing so well, too good. What's wrong with doing too well? See if you get it. What was one problem that we talk about over and over? If you're in expansionary gap, you have excess demand.
Inflation.
Very good, thank you. Thank you very much, that's very good. So you have inflation. Okay, all that, so, yep, corrected. Okay, next I want to talk about this Federal Open Market Committee formed by the Federal Reserve Bank, and one of their function is to formulate monetary policy. And we also mentioned from last chapter that fiscal policy is somewhat not so flexible because of the time lag. You have the debate, tax increase, government expenditure in the Congress, and there's two political party, you know, they fight, and so it might be a long time. So, but monetary policy is a little bit quicker. Just change the interest rate, and then it could be implement almost straight away. So that's how they control the money supply. Remember, everything goes back to how do they control the money supply? How do they change the interest rate? The supply of money determines the interest rate given the demand for money. Remember that graph that I drew the other day? So we could look at it now. So we're done with this. You should be able to do your homework problem. Remember to do it 2 times. And then I think we asked for 2 interest rate. So you could use this method, or you could use your intuition method if you like. So first start off with this is your money supply, this is money market. Your money demand looks like that. Money supply is fixed, so it's a vertical line. Okay, this is your money stock. And this is your, anybody remember? Letter I, which in English we call,
Interest rate.
what kind of interest rate? Be specific. Nominal. Not real, nominal interest rate. Now, when you have the other one, remember the investment and savings? That's when you have your real interest rate. So don't get the two confused. Okay, that's a side diagram, but this is the one we want to look at right there. So what is the demand for money? Now, in Keynesian's definition of demand for money, he call it liquidity preference. So this is the sign. In some textbook, they use the term LP, central liquidity preference. So I'll explain what it is. So money is an asset, it's used for transaction. It's a store of value, it's used for holding well. We know all that from previous chapter. Now, you heard the term portfolio allocation. What is portfolio allocation? Like if you do an investment, right, you don't want to put, you hear this all the time, you do not want to put all your eggs in one basket, because it's risky. So you spread out. You invest in a little bit of, some stocks, also some bonds, some fixed income. Spread it out, diversify it. So you diversify your risk by having a portfolio allocation of assets. Don't hold all in cash. Put some in the bank. Hold some as jewelry, cars, some other tangible assets. Okay, the demand for money, the way that Keynes define it, many ways to hold well, cash, checking account, bond, stocks, collectibles, like, classic car, stamps, and gun collection, what have you, Batman comics, that sort of thing. Okay, so all these are your wealthy. So when you say the demand for money, right, according to Keynesian term, is only caring about what is liquid, not the one that's not non-liquid. In other words, one example here is if Larry has a wealth of 10,000, he could hold all in 10,000 in cash, so the demand for money would be 10,000. Because in this case, cash is considered liquid. So in Keynesian's definition for that, demand for money is liquidity preference. But if he allocates it, second scenario, it's wealth to 1,000 in cash, 2,000 in checking account, 2,000 government bond, 5,000 stamps. So all this still add up to be 10,000, but his demand for money is now the cash plus that checking account, which is 3,000, and not the rest, because the rest are not considered as liquid. So that's just one example I want to give very quickly. So the demand for money actually is you look at cost benefit principle again. So what is the benefit of holding money? Used to make transaction. We all hold some sort of cash. In case somebody point a gun at us. No, just kidding. We got some cash. I have $1. You could have the dollar. You could have my debit card, but then I have to give you my PIN number and all that. That is so much troublesome. It's not easy to rob people anymore. You have to take them to the ATM machine, do it now, right? It's not just like, give me your water, and it's like, this is like, throw it away. It's not like cash anymore. It's just all those cards. What do they mean, where's the cash? Cost of holding money, the opportunity cost of foregone interest. So that's it, if you hold 10,000 in cash, you are foregoing the interest that you should have put it in a bank to earn interest, but you're not. Okay, there's some other factors that affect the demand for money. One is technology. We talk about ATM machine. You see it in every street corner. So is there any need to hold a lot of cash today? If I have more than 100, I get scared. I say I should go to the bank and put in the cash now. Say, you have it, I don't want it. So, but some people may be different. I normally just keep $20 or below, yeah. A lot of people do that now. Technological change, sophisticated financial market have reduced the demand for money in the U.S. because of credit card, ATM, all that. So no need. Business hold more than half. Okay, never mind about that. Oh gosh, see it. Okay, so now I want to talk about how do you shift that demand curve to the right. What makes it happen? Okay, So assuming that you don't have that, you just have the demand for money, and I'm going to shift that to the right. And what are some of the factors? One factor is if P goes up, if there's inflation, people will tend to want to hold more money, because when you drive to McDonald's, instead of, you only have $2, yesterday McDonald's, Big Mac was $2, today, you drive up there and say it's 5. You don't have money, so you have to, inflation causes you to want to hold more money, demand more money, so that's it, the price goes up. If your income goes up, you also demand more money. This is, right here, yeah. So, what's the cost of holding money? That's on the supply side, okay? And we say that as you have seen, right, the demand for money, as interest rate comes down, you hold more money, because then it becomes less and less profitable or desirable to put money in the bank, then you want to hold more money. So therefore, demand for money is inversely related to your nominal interest rate. That's what all this is saying. So what are the benefits of holding money on the demand side? So if your income goes up, you tend to hold more money, or want to demand more money. You higher your income. And that is true if you look at USA compared to a third world country. People here spend more, a lot more. Okay, the price level, so that's the same thing I'm talking about, inflation. So you will want to hold more money. So in other words, demand curve will shift to the right because of two things: higher income, higher price, or inflation. It will shift to the right. But if you have a good technological changes like ATM machine in every street corner, then it will shift the MD curve to the left. The desire to hold more money will be less. Remember, all these are factors that determine MD, independence of the nominal interest rate, which is known as its own price, as we did it in chapter 3. So foreign demand would be like for example, in Latin American countries, Argentina, for example, in the 80s, a lot of them want to hold US dollars. Why? Because they think of US dollars as a hedge. Do you understand this word hedge? What does it mean? What does a hedge mean? Come on, something green.
Something stable.
Green. What is a hedge? Bush. Somebody say bush. Very good. Who say bush?
Pollard.
You say bush? Okay. Bush is good, yeah. So what do you do if you if someone tries to shoot you? You hide behind the bush. Correct? That's your hedge. Your hedge of protection, you hide behind the bush, you say, okay, the hedge. So that's what happened, okay, during the Latin American economy. So the crisis, the countries of Argentina, they think US dollars is a hedge against inflation. Why? Because the government sees their money, and then the peso's values comes down, They say, if we have US dollars, have no fear, because it's like a hedge. We're hiding behind the US dollars because, it's a hedge against inflation and political instability. So therefore, that's how the term comes about, a hedge, Today they use it for, okay, do you want a hedge? It's a financial term they use now in the business or financial world when you do investment. So in other words, it's a protection. It's a hedge here. So this Latin American foreign citizens, they want to hold US dollars to avoid the impact of high inflation. So they hold US dollars as a hedge against inflation, or as a hedge against political instability. So that's what happened, and so the demand for money goes up, it shifts to the right. Okay, so next, so the supply side, it's important. Remember we talked about OMO? Did I practice that with Nathan or someone else? Did we do OMO? Was that with one of you three? Yeah, I forgot who. I think it's Nathan. Because we took advantage of when he was asleep, remember? Your bank was First Bank. Did you know you gave away your bank name?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Okay. So money supply. Okay. So there are three ways that I'm just gonna write it down for you. Okay. The three methods that because I know it's write this down. There are three ways for the Fed to control the money supply. Number one is to OMO, which you've done already. Number two is to discount window or discount rate. Okay, number three is through the RT ratio. So let's look at OMO. OMO is, remember, if that's the government buying bonds from the public or releasing or selling bonds to the public. If it is buying bonds from the public, remember that money supply goes up because it releases money back to the public. So if money supply goes up, according to that diagram just now, MS curve will shift right like that vertically. Okay, if you shift to the left, that this will be decrease in money supply, this will be increase in money supply. That will be the selling of bonds by the Fed to the public. Because then the public will have to pay the Fed money. So then the public becomes poorer, so we call that contractionary money supply, or monetary policy. Money supply curve will shift to the left, like that. I think we are almost out of time, so I think I'll just stop here. Just looking for that watching. We have a few more slides here before I move to the next chapter. So please read ahead of time and go ahead and do that